Chapter 17, Nutrition During the Growing Years, Screencast 1. Now, this chapter is focusing on growing from infancy to adulthood. If we look at what we expect to change, height and weight will increase, body composition will change, and organs will mature. Now, normal growth and development is dependent upon a number of characteristics: calorie and nutrient intake, making sure they're getting adequate sleep, and loving care. If any of these are missing, growth may slow or stop. Physical growth is at its peak during infancy. Because of this, causes nutrient need per unit of body weight to be at their highest. Babies double birth weight by 4 to 6 months. Babies triple birth weight and increase length by a year. Growth is slower in childhood, and it occurs in bursts. Nutrient and calorie needs and appetite rise and fall in response to these fluctuations. Generally, we can expect a child to grow a few inches per year. We could expect a weight gain anywhere from 4 to 6 pounds per year until 8 or 9 years of age. Afterwards, we can expect 8 to 10 pounds per year until puberty. Adolescence is going to be a very rapid phase of physical growth, as a third or more of all growth will occur during this stage. It starts at puberty, 10 to 13 years of age in girls, generally 2 years later in boys, and generally ends about 10 years after it starts. During this time frame, height and weight increase rapidly. Most girls will reach adult height at 14 or 15 years of age. Most boys will reach adult height at 18 years of age. Here we can look at an overall chart that talks about growth rate for height and weights. If we look at the blue line is boys, and the purple line is girls. And notice we're starting at age in years. And so once again, we start to see a decline, because once again, the significant amount of growth occurring during infancy. So we see that decline, which is not unsurprising. And then as we start to get a little bit older, we start to see the really big increase, especially during puberty. And then we'll start to see weight top down in girls. If we look at height, very similar kind of curve. Okay, so a slowing down. And then we'll actually see that actually getting back to the point during puberty where we will see actual growth occur again. Body composition, remember we're talking about proportion of body made up of water, fat, muscle, bone, and so on. Now, body weight declines during the first 2 or 3 years to adult levels. Lean muscle tissue increases as children grow older. Because of testosterone, males during puberty will gain more muscle mass, will develop a heavier skeleton, and also they will be building more red blood cells. So all of this is due to testosterone. Body fat rises from birth to age 1, declines until age 7, then gradually increases afterwards. During adolescence, body fat will decline in males. In adolescent females, body fat continues to rise due to the secretion of estrogen, and that is essential for sexual maturation. Organs continue to grow and develop throughout childhood. Brain growth is about 75% complete by age 2 and completed by age 6 to 10. Heart and respiratory system are near adult size and maturity at age 9. Any remaining growth and maturation are completed during adolescence. The most visible changes are maturation of the reproductive system and the development of secondary sexual characteristics. Here, this is actually a boy's stature for age and weight for age. And you may have heard of using percentiles. And so what we're looking at here, a couple of things that I want to point out. Green is going to be a normal distribution percentile. Red is actually going to be if for some reason we start to see the boy not getting enough nutrition, and so we actually see a decline and a lowering of percentile. Here, if we look at the purple triangles, now we're looking at overnutrition and moving into a different percentile. Here, we're actually looking at height. And once again, the orange is an indicator of what happens when enough nutrients are not available. And green is going to be the normal expected percentile. Now, it takes 1 to 3 years for an infant to establish their own percentile. Once established, if the child is eating a healthy diet, that percentile will be maintained. Spurts and lags are to be expected. Jumping up or down 2 or more percentiles may be caused by a number of different things. It could be calorie excesses or deficits, nutrient inadequacies, illness, and psychological problems. So these are things that could potentially impact the percentile if they change significantly. Head circumference is also measured to assess brain growth. Brain grows faster during infancy. The rapid growth of the brain ends at about 18 months. Now, brain size cannot be used to assess intelligence. But what we do know, babies that are breastfed have higher IQs than formula-fed babies. Now, growth is going to reflect calorie and nutrient intake. BMI for age is a good indicator of recent nutritional status. So weight for length for younger than 2 years. Stature for age is a good indicator of long-term nutritional status. Infants or children that are not growing at the expected rate for several months, especially if under 5th percentile, are experiencing what's known as failure to thrive. Failure to thrive may be a result of a number of different situations. There may be a lack of access to sufficient or appropriate food. There may be some physical problems. Poor feeding techniques may be an issue. There may be mental depression in the mother, negative socialization, lack of cuddling, voices, eye contact. The long-term effects depend on the severity and length of time for which malnourishment is taking place. Now, growth in height will stop when the growth plate or epiphyses fuse. This begins at 14 in girls, it begins at 15 in boys, and generally it ends about 5 years after starting for both males and females.